Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Ian, back again with another video. And I don't usually like talking about negative things. I really don't. I don't like talking about, especially Fortnite, and if it's ever got anything negative going towards it, it's not a topic that I like to talk about or bring up or mention. I usually like only positive things. And yeah, like I don't really like talking about negative stuff. But I feel like this subject is so interesting that I thought I would at least just sort of give my opinion or my side of it or my view of it, I guess you could say. And I must say, like, first of all, I think Peterbot is a fantastic FNCS player. I think he is one of the best. I don't know how he does it. I've never been in that sort of position to, be that sort of cracked or cooked at a game or anything, have that level of, intelligence to dominate lobbies and stuff, the way he does. And he always seems to have, teammates with him that dominate as well. So he is always doing very, very good. And he always is always top. He's always in the top FNCS every single time. And he never disappoints, he's actually an amazing player. But there's always, for me, before even any of this came out, I always felt something off about Peterbot, and it's just my, intuition. It's nothing against him. It's nothing against anybody. I think people just have these sort of feelings sometimes when they're around people. I'm not judging him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, I just had, like, an off feeling about him right from the get-go. But I was like, well, he's just some kid, and he's just a pro at, a game, like I didn't really think much else of it. Then when all this stuff came out about the controversy and what he's done, at first I was like, well, from my perspective of the way the world is and the way people are, I never put my hopes up way too high about anybody, because anybody at any point can do anything. And especially in 2025, there's literally cameras everywhere, like literally everywhere. It's like on our phones, on our laptops. Even when we're going out for a drive in a car, there's like the streets have security cameras. There's security cameras outside people's homes. Like, there's just cameras everywhere, like literally everywhere. There's cameras in hotels. There's cameras everywhere, right? And people even set up cameras inside their house now. So the possibility of people slipping up and doing something and it getting caught on camera is super, super high, right? So when I found out that, like, he had said something, I was like, okay, well, I already had like a bad feeling about him in the first place, so hearing that he did something didn't really surprise me too much, right? I tried to ignore it for a little bit, but it was blowing up online on YouTube and Twitter, and those are sort of the two main sources that I get sort of the majority of, Fortnite content from. And I was like, you know what, I'll watch it and I'll see, I'll see just how bad it is, because people were saying it was pretty bad, but I wasn't quite sure of just how bad it was. When I say this, guys, I say that this is bad. Like, this is actually pretty bad. I'll say the first couple of seconds, I was like, okay, well, he's just a young kid, saying a whole bunch of words. Didn't really think anything of it. The video is only 13 seconds, and I swear to you, the longer the video is, the more, like, my eyebrows were raising, my jaw was dropping. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of this kid's mouth, right? And it was shocking. Like, it was just, like, shocking. Like, I think everybody said some pretty bad stuff. At least once in their lifetime. But this was next level, and I think if it's hard, because, like, he's obviously somewhere between, like, 13 and 16 in this video, right? I don't know how old this kid is, but he's obviously pretty young, and he's obviously in a house full of, like, I know what it's like to be a kid and be around the wrong kind of people. 100%. I think all of us do, right? And I think it's just harder for someone like this because there's cameras everywhere, like I said, and clearly this guy was recording. I mean, it's even more challenging nowadays because like people have recording stuff in glasses. I mean, this looks like it was done off of a phone because I can't remember, but it looked like he like whacked the phone out of the guy's hand. I think if somebody's recording me, I don't usually tend to do something that I know I'm gonna regret later. But again, I'm at a much later stage of my life than he is. But I do understand what it's like to be filmed, and then you're like put on the spotlight. I don't know why he said it. I really don't. I don't even understand like the context of it. I get I think he was like mad because I think somebody was provoking him. But even if you're being provoked, you should never use that word. I mean, unless it's under like the circumstances, like you're of that like ethnicity, it seems to be normalized. But I think if you're not, I think just don't ever say it. You know what I mean? Like it's just not an okay word to ever say. I really don't recommend watching the video. I mean, if you really have to watch it, by all means, you know it's online. You know, it's you can find it if you need to. But I really don't recommend watching it. And I feel bad for this guy because like I think there was even a lot of kids I think who, I'm not saying they wanted to be like be him, but I think with the skill level that he was at with FNCS, I think kids were trying to get to that level. You know what I mean? And yeah, to a certain degree, he was the face, I guess you could say, especially of FNCS. So I don't know how it's gonna go forward. Not a lot of people, like when it comes to Fortnite, the majority of people who know about Fortnite don't really know about FNCS. Like I know there's people who know about Clicks and Peterbot, but like those are their fans. You know what I mean? And there's only like a certain level of people who really know what FNCS is. There's a huge amount of people, but I'm just saying that like when you compare it to people who just play the game, even people who just like casually play the game, I don't think that they're like watching FNCS. I like FNCS. I like watching it. I think it's super exciting. But yeah, I don't know how this is gonna play out with his career and stuff like that. I don't know if he'll be affected by it. It's hard because like he did apologize, by the way, and I think it's again, I can kind of like, I don't know how to explain this, but like I get where he's coming from, right? Like with like, cause if it 100% is all AI generated, right? Which a lot of people have been speculating that it is. I kind of get it, right? Cause like if everything that I hear about him is true, like if he is autistic. When you're autistic, I guess you could say you get kind of stressed out and you say things that you don't realize are bad or what, you know what I mean? And I knew if he realized if he had posted something that it was probably going to be a backlashable thing, so he probably inputted it into like something like ChatGPT, something that's like AI generated, and said, can you make this sound mature and stuff like that, and it probably did, you know what I mean? I actually understand that from that perspective because putting myself, like my actual self, into circumstances and then putting my actual true words into it, people have had quite a shocking reaction to what I've said, but then when I say what ChatGPT or whatever responds with, people seem to it seems to flow better with people than what it would if I did it from right off the top of my dome. You know what I mean? So I understand, like, if he was trying to use ChatGPT or something, an AI program, to make it an apology, I kind of understand. I'm glad he said something. But yeah, I do feel bad for him because he was going in a trajectory of quite a strong career that I think a lot of people would have loved to have, But it is hard because I feel like with anybody who gets famous, you gotta remember that they're all people. Like, they all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And it's just getting harder and harder because there's just more cameras. Now, I also understand that like he was like in an environment, and but I mean, I've been in environments where I've been around people who aren't the best of like an influence, but it's never made me to ever say those words. Like, I have never ever wanted to say those words ever. And I don't know if it's just like in 2025 people are just a little more desensitized, because you gotta understand that like kids can kind of see almost anything they want. It's such a young age, you know what I mean? It's obviously up to the parental guidance of like how much they allow the kid to see. But yeah, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I really think he shouldn't have said it. I think it was really bad what he did. I don't know how he's gonna bounce back from this, because unfortunately it's one of those things where there are some things you can do in life and you can kind of bounce back from, and you can kind of retract yourself and you can kind of make yourself a better person. This unfortunately is one of those things where it's like, wow, I cannot believe you did that, and it's kind of going to be stained in everybody's minds now forever, you know, like he's the guy who said that word, you know, like, and that's pretty much how, because he went from being like the top of the FNCS, like that's the guy, you know, you knew that guy from being the most amazing FNCS player, to now being somebody who has done racial slurs. Now I get that you're like young, and I think there was one person I was watching and he made such an amazing statement of being like, if you're under the age of like, I think he said 13, but it might have been 16, you should never video yourself doing anything and posting it online, because it's probably bad and it's just not good, you know. It's just not, like, nobody is developed enough to understand the world and understand you know, consequences, and understand life, and understand how things are gonna, you know, spiral, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope he takes this as a learning lesson. I really do, but I do not know how he's gonna bounce back from it. I don't know if he'll be affected by it, because when it comes to like FNCS, you don't hear people talking, you know, they just show up, they play the game. But if Fortnite says they don't want anything to do with them now, I don't blame them. Do you know what I mean? If FNCS doesn't want anything to do with it at Peterbot anymore, I can kind of understand from a company standpoint why they would do that. So yeah, I don't know. But guys, don't like to ever talk about anything negative, but I thought this was quite an interesting topic. Sorry for talking so long. I've noticed I just yap lately, but yeah, I would love to know what your guys' opinions of it are in the comments. You know, feel free to have a conversation with me about it if I said anything good, or if there's something, you know, you want to bounce off of what I said, let me know. I think, yeah, like I said, I hope he takes it as a learning lesson, and I hope that he can recover from this, but I don't know if this is something that you can kind of recover from. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Have an amazing day, guys. Bye.